Formula One leaves Singapore and heads over to Japan. For the first time in 3 years, we are back at Suzuka. This weekend could see Max Verstappen become a world champion for the second time. It's also the beginning of the end for Formula One in 2022. 2 weeks' time, we're at the United States Grand Prix at Austin, Texas, followed a week later by Mexico, and then a 2-week break before Brazil and Abu Dhabi round out the 2022 season. In the Drivers' Championship, it's quite simple. Max Verstappen, if he wins this weekend and Charles Leclerc finishes second without the fastest lap, Max is world champion. It seems an open door then for Verstappen. It seemed that way in Singapore. With rain predicted over the weekend, anything could be less simple. It's a 2-point gap between Leclerc and Perez as well. Russell is a point clear of Carlos Sainz too. The top 5 now all over 200 points. Lewis Hamilton is on 170. He's clear to Lando Norris. However, Norris in a battle still with Esteban Ocon. Ocon, after a great performance last time out, is catching up. Alonso, Bottas and Ricciardo complete the first page. On the second page, Vettel is a point clear of Gasly, is a point clear of Magnussen. In a separate battle with Stroll, Schumacher and Tsunoda. Zhou and Albon battling out as well. De Vries not likely to race the remainder of the year. Latifi still pointless this season. And Hülkenberg only did the start of the 2 races this season. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull hold an impressive lead, 576 points to Ferrari's 439. They are in danger of being caught by Mercedes as well on 373. McLaren with a double points finish last time out, and Alpine scoring nil points. It is now advantage McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. Alfa Romeo are now clear 2 of Aston Martin, who've moved ahead in the standings from 9th to 7th with a double point scoring finish in Singapore. They're now clear of Haas, who are just the same points as AlphaTauri. Williams in 10th still have 6 points. It's the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, and this is your Grand Prix preview. Hello everybody and welcome to your Grand Prix preview for the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix. As I said, for the first time in 3 years, we are back here at Suzuka. And what a race it is. Max Verstappen could become a double world champion. Simply, he just needs to win the race with the fastest lap and for Leclerc to be second without that fastest lap. It's as simple as that for him to be the 2022 world champion. And who would put it past him with the season he has had? 11 victories as well out of the 17 races so far. This is round 18 of the season as well here at Japan in Suzuka, and it is a pleasure to be back. There's rain in the air predicted for tomorrow's practice sessions. A dry Saturday, but a wet and windy Sunday as well means we're once again going to be provided with the entertainment we so desire. Now, earlier on this morning as well, the press conference was taking place, and that is what we are going to be showing to you in the preview as well. So let's go over to the drivers' press conference now with Yuki Tsunoda, with Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Kevin Magnussen and Nicholas Latifi. They're first up in the drivers' press conference, and hosting it as well is Tom Clarkson.
A very warm welcome, everybody, to our drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Japanese Grand Prix. In the first of our 2 groups, from left to right, as you can see, we have Kevin Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi and Sebastian Vettel. Yuki, I feel we should definitely start with you. Local hero, just how excited are you about your first Japanese Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, soon as I landed to the airport, there was a lot of people. Even around the hotels. Yeah, I went to grandstand this morning for a bit of filming with the Netflix guys, and yeah, I think even that is. I found there's a lot of people. Even they limited the tickets on Thursday. So so far it's been a great days. Definitely the best days I'm having for sure. Definitely in the Formula One. Just looking forward for this week. Yeah.
You're a graduate of the Suzuka Racing School. Can you share some of your memories of racing here at the track.
Yeah, I drove Formula 4, I think it was 4 years ago. I was driving here, and last time in Suzuka I won here, so it's good. Definitely, it's the good way to end in the Suzuka, and definitely I was driving like here is 2 minutes 7 seconds, so it's like 40 seconds difference. So it's a lot difference, and even in simulator I felt like a lot of things going on fast, much faster than when I used to drive. So I really like this Suzuka. Like I said, I was driving here since from 2016, and I drove here like more than 10,000 laps or whatever. So I know a lot of tricks, but at the same time, like I said, it's a lot difference when I drive a Formula One. So I need to build it up, but still, I think one of the best tracks still in my experience. So yeah, can't wait.
Just a quick question about what's going on in Formula One at the minute. This is your first FIA press conference since it was announced that you're staying with AlphaTauri next year. Do you feel ready to lead the team in 2023, should that be required of you?
Yes, I think I have to learn a lot of things still in the rest of 5 races from Pierre, for example. And for sure, the kind of mistakes I did in the Singapore I have to definitely reduce. And lots of things, for example, penalties, whatever. Also, those things is unnecessary. So those things definitely have to improve. But at the same time, the pace in especially like one lap, I'm quite happy and having good progress so far. So I just keep like this momentum and until the next year. And yeah, just for the race, I think just experience more. Definitely, I have to get back into the normal rhythm or good rhythm like I had in first half of the season. And I think this is this Suzuka will be probably a good opportunity to back into the good rhythm, or I have to. So yeah, but I think still learning, lots of things to learn, but still at the same time I have a quite good confidence to do that.
All right. Thank you, Yuki. Best of luck this weekend. Make sure you enjoy it. Fernando, we'll come to you next. You've won at Suzuka twice before. What is it that makes this place so special?
I won once, I think, no? 2006. Only one time. But I won in Fuji. So
Japanese Grand Prix twice.
Probably.
Yes, forgive me. That's the
one. I mean, this place, yeah, I love this place. Everyone, I think, loves Suzuka. The combination, again, of high-speed corners, a little bit of banking in the corners as well, make the feeling really special. The fans are so passionate here, so the whole weekend is a big thing. And yeah, looking forward with this year's cars to enjoy, especially the high speed.
You always get great gifts from the fans here. What's the maddest thing you've received so far?
I had this question before, and I'm not sure I have that memory at the moment to spot one, but you know, I'm sure during this weekend, you know, things will get wild for sure at one point, and I will try to put all in the garage like this. You enjoy as well.
Now, Fernando, it's been a tough last couple of races for you, retiring from both Monza and Marina Bay. Was it a similar issue both times?
No. It was different issues. We have been, you know, hit quite badly about reliability this year. We lost a lot of points, and unfortunately now we are in this battle with McLaren, few points behind, and yeah, hopefully we can have a normal 5 races now and finish on a high. But yeah, has been our weakest point this year.
How do you view that battle with McLaren? Do you expect it?
Oh, we seem to have lost pictures at this current time as well, which is always an exciting thing to happen. Here we go.
I think Singapore was standing out because it was a big loss in points there, but I think it's going to be.
There seems to be a problem with Fernando's microphone on our side as well. It's not working all that well, and everyone's looking around thinking,
yesterday,
what's happening? Okay,
what
back
did you
to
get
Tom.
up to?
Nothing really. We were in Tokyo, me and my physio, so pretty quiet, really. I had some sushi and watched the movie. So not too exciting.
Well, talking of exciting, how excited are you to be at Suzuka this weekend?
Yeah, it's always great being here. It's been a couple of years now, and it's certainly one of the best tracks that I know. So looking forward to getting back out there in a Formula One car again, and yeah, hopefully we can have a strong weekend.
Well, strong weekend hopefully this weekend. Just can we get your reflections on Singapore, both qualifying and what happened in the race?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a good Saturday. Qualifying was decent. Started in sort of intermediate conditions and then dried up, and we had this shootout at the end in Q3 on slicks in this damp mixed track, which was really fun, and we got a decent qualifying. But then, yeah, in the race, it was another, wild conditions, mixed conditions, and one of those races where I think everyone has an opportunity to score points, and we didn't. So that's disappointing, and it's I got a terrible start, lost a lot of positions, and then damaged my front wing. So got the black and orange flag, had to go and change the front wing, and kind of just was stuck there the rest of the race.
And Haas are now 3 points behind Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. How do you view that battle?
It's tough because we're kind of struggling a bit to score points at the moment. So even though there's not that many points between us teams down there, it's hard to go and get those points and beat the other teams. So we have a chance, and I think we're going into some circuits that should be better for us. So nobody's given up on beating those. We've been P7 in the constructors most of the year, and that would be a great position to get. Coming from a couple of seasons where Haas have been the last team in the constructors championship, it would be really cool to jump a few positions. So that's what we'll try.
All right, best of luck with that. Enjoy the weekend ahead. Thanks. Thank you, Kevin. Nicholas, we'll come to you now. Your first time racing at Suzuka. What are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, I think just to experience the track for the first time, really. I've obviously heard so many great things about the circuit from different drivers. I've watched the races here, obviously, many years. But yeah, the previous 2 years, just not having the experience to come here. So, on the calendar this year, both Singapore and Japan, for the first time, they were the circuits that I was, let's say, with the exception of getting my home Grand Prix, the ones that I was most looking forward to. So, I walked the track this morning, and it's a bit different to be there in person than when you're watching it on TV. It's much narrower in places, much more banking as well than I would have thought. I'm quite excited to drive tomorrow. I mean, if it's not a washout tomorrow.
Well, the forecast isn't great for Friday, but let's hope this weekend goes better for you than Singapore. I just want to reflect on what happened in the race with Zhou Guanyu. Can we get your version of events of that incident, please?
Yeah, I mean, when I went to the media pen afterwards, I had obviously not seen the incident, so it was difficult to comment on. I mean, at the end, watching all the different onboards, I mean, I think, if you're going off the, let's say, the rule book, I mean, it's clear he came up alongside me, and I didn't leave him enough space. I think the things that were maybe not considered, which is as well maybe one of the frustrations, that I didn't have a chance to go to the stewards because they didn't ever summon me, like normally happens when there's an incident between two drivers, is that I was taking the same line I was taking every single lap beforehand, and I did actually look into my mirrors both ways. You see from the onboard that I glance in both directions. But the problem was just because of the difference in lines, he was driving in the blind spot of the mirror the whole way down to the corner. So in that sense, I mean, as drivers, we all know there's a massive blind spot in the car. And again, I did look, so if he's driving in a place where I can't see him, when I do make an effort to look, and I just then take my normal line, it's, obviously he ended up being there. But if I can't see him, because he's driving in a place where he should expect I can't see him, especially on a street track in the wet. It's tricky. I mean, if I would have got penalized anyways in the end, after, let's say, being able to at least give my side of the story, doesn't really make much of a difference, and I would have accepted that. But yeah, I guess just not being able to go to the stewards and give my side of the events and give different points that I think weren't considered, that was yeah, probably a bit frustrating, especially when we just want, we're always talking about the consistency amongst decisions and penalties and whatnot. Yeah.
Unfortunate end. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you, Nicky. Sebastian, coming to you now. If I've got my maths right, you're a 4-time winner here at Suzuka, and you've clinched a world championship here as well. Is this the sort of place you're going to miss when you retire?
Yes.
What is it about Suzuka that you're going to miss?
Well, I always loved the track. I think it stands out. It's my favorite track in the calendar, and the calendars have changed over so many years, and tracks have disappeared. Well, they're still there, but they're not on the calendar anymore. And we've added other tracks, but I don't know. From very first time, this has been a special place for me. I think just the layout of corner, the first sector. It's iconic. It's a figure 8 track, the only one we have. Plus then the atmosphere, the attention the sport gets when we come here is crazy. So yeah, lots of very nice memories. And I didn't think, at the other races, obviously I know that it will be my last time in other places too. But here it does feel a bit different somehow. But I look forward to the sessions that we have, every single one of them, and the race on Sunday.
Any crazy gifts from the fans for you?
I got a little horse this morning, not a real horse, but yeah. I mean, they're very attentive, and they come up with very thoughtful gifts as well. Nice letters and nice messages, their stories, and especially, this year it's only the beginning of the weekend, but how they started maybe following the sport, following myself, and yeah, they are probably as sad as I am to realize it's my last race here, but equally as happy that we've got this weekend ahead of us.
All right, well, best of luck. Make sure you enjoy it. Let's open this to the floor. First one, please.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. It's a question to Fernando and to Sebastian. Gentlemen, you're never short of an opinion when it comes to penalties in Formula One and driving penalties. We exist in a cost cap era at the moment, and next week, fingers crossed, we'll know which teams have stayed within the cost cap, which teams haven't for last year. How strictly do you feel the FIA should deal with a team that has broken the cost cap in any way?
Fernando, please. We'll start with you.
I don't know. It's a difficult topic from our side. Driver point of view, I think is not really relevant here, and we rely on our teams to really control everything they do. But yeah, I guess we all expect from FIA to police, as good as possible all these things, because we want to race on a fair and environment and things. But it is a very, I think it's a very difficult topic, because there is a lot of things that we need to make sure that they are controlled. The budget cap is one thing, but there are many teams with different structures, with different things, with their own circuit in their own factories. Things that we need to control a lot. So it has to be really well done.
Yeah, along the same lines, I think, we try to control our driving, and, I think we know when we are right and when we are wrong in terms of being fair, giving enough space. Then we've just listened to Nicholas and shit. But we try to obviously, be fair most of the time, and I think that's the same for any governance of the sport, is to supply the fairness, or to ensure the fairness is there across the team, across the year, across the season, across the sport. The FIA is in charge of that, and we have to trust them of doing the job. And if you fail to comply with the rules, then then there should be consequences. I mean, it's a complicated or complex matter probably, and we are not the best judges to understand. But yeah, I think the art is to break it down, make it simple, and make it clear. So we'll see what happens.
That was interesting.
Very interesting then to hear about the cost cap, as well as it has been announced that anything from the FIA... Oh, I better get in shot, shouldn't I? The FIA have announced that any instruction of anybody breaking the cost cap rules, anybody who might have gone over it as well, we won't know until after the Japanese Grand Prix. So that is on Monday morning. We will find out if anybody has broken the cost cap as well, which kind of does make sense. But then again, what we've been hearing is that it's only by 10 million, which is within the 5% rule of the cost cap as well, which is just on the margin. But there was a rumour going around that Red Bull might only be fined 20,000 euros, which in that case is you can spend 10 million extra on the cost cap, you're only going to get fined 20,000. It doesn't really make sense. So I hope that isn't true from what we were hearing this morning as well from people over there in Japan. Still, it is Red Bull and Aston Martin who have said that they have not heard anything about this cost cap rule. They are still the two teams that are involved in this cost cap battle. Mike Crack, who is the team principal at Aston Martin, said, no, we heard absolutely nothing about any breach of cost cap until the media speculated as well. Red Bull, again, Christian Horner going overly defensive, saying that as well. And if you're watching the press conference as well, you might have noticed that there is dividers in between the drivers. We're back in Japan, of course. In Japan, very heavy still on COVID precautions as well. No masks as well, but when you're walking around the paddock, you have to wear a mask. And if you're inside as well, it's a little bit less as well than what we usually see. You shouldn't see anything different as well. You can take your mask off if you're standing still. If you're walking around, you've got to put your mask back on as well. And also, the driver's press conference as well, just barrier separating them. But again, morning Josh as well. Thought that was my phone that. No, it was probably my phone that dialed up as well, or probably someone in the press conferences as well when you heard the mobile going up. But still, yeah, that was it from the press conference as well. But first of all, I want to hear from Lando Norris, who was talking to Ted Kravitz in the pen.
Did you have a nice time in Tokyo?
Yes, I did.
Good, excellent. Looking back on Singapore, what pleased you more, doing Alonso off the start or dummying Max or making him go on the damp patches?
I mean,
the Alonso thing was important for you, wasn't it?
Yes, more for importance and for the team. That's better. Yeah. I guess nothing to be proud of in terms of the Max one. I'm just happy. I guess I got Fernando. That was the main task. It was not to finish ahead of Max or whatever. But to be ahead of Fernando. I mean, they both retired in the end, so it probably didn't make too much difference. But those kind of things are what we need right now. So.
Did Wizzle, your engineer, explain the weird thing at turn 7? Turn 6 and turn 7?
Yes, it's just bumps. Some laps I was hitting bigger bumps than others.
Okay.
And obviously there's the rule with how much you can allow to bump with the new rules of porpoising and stuff. So sometimes when I would hit it...
it was the porpoising metric.
Yeah.
Right, that's what he was worried about. We were worried that the car was going to break because they were doing something weird. No. Okay.
Car was
that's
perfect.
Interesting. All right, this weird porpoising metric. Okay, good. Well, that clears that one up.
Yeah, so it's a certain amount of, like, how hard you can hit the ground at the same time.
Yeah, that's why he was worried. All right, I see. But otherwise, explain to the people at home who aren't racing drivers what's so rewarding about flat out around Suzuka. How does it feel?
I think the best thing here is just the flow to the whole circuit. You've got a good variance of corners, high speed, low speed, some very tight chicanes like the last chicane, the tight hairpin in the middle. But the rest of it is just, you have one corner and you go straight into another. It's not like you have kind of one corner straight, another corner straight. It's just, you come out of one and you're preparing straight away for the next one. And as soon as you kind of get one part a little bit wrong, it generally continues into the next one. So as soon as you kind of get it right, then you just get the whole section right. And it's just, especially in a Formula 1 car. incredibly fast, incredibly enjoyable, especially like Sector 1 there's nothing else really like it, I guess. You have Kota in some ways, but this is the original, so this is the one where it all started. And yeah, just a lot of fun, not a lot of runoff, gravel in most places, so you get punished for making mistakes. And again, that's sometimes not what we like, but generally as a driver is what you want.
Fantastic. Thanks. Have a good weekend. Cheers.
Lando Norris there talking with Ted Kravitz as well, which is always nice to hear and nice to see as well about the porpoising. Now we finally know what happened down in turn 6 and 7, where I was on the radio as well saying all that. Okay, let's get ready then for the second half of the drivers' press conference, and taking part is Zhou Guanyu, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell, and this year's champion-elect of Max Verstappen. They're in the press conference now, once again, talking with Tom Clarkson. Over to you.
Everybody, to Group 2 of our drivers' press conference here at Suzuka. From left to right, as you can see, we have Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell, Zhou Guanyu and Charles Leclerc. Very warm welcome to you all.
They're playing with the plastic balls.
I think we should start with Max. Let's go left to right. Max, what a potentially huge weekend for you, both from a championship point of view. It's Honda's home race. It is where the journey in Formula One began for you back in 2014. Just give us your thoughts coming into the weekend.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. I mean, it's been off the calendar for a while, but it's an amazing venue, amazing track, and of course also amazing fans in general. You know, they're very crazy about Formula One, so I think, you know, we're all very happy to be here. And of course for us it's extra special, you know, with Honda involved. Yeah, we're hoping for a good weekend.
Well, the Drivers' Championship has been clinched here 12 times in the past. What would it mean for you to clinch your second title here of all places?
It would make it a little bit, you know, extra special because of our relationship with Honda. I think it was already a shame that we couldn't be here last year already, you know, in a title fight. So that's why we're really looking forward to be back here, and then we'll see what happens. We need a perfect weekend, that's for sure.
Max, just final one from me. Just give us a few words on the fans here and the sort of support that you get from the Japanese.
Yeah, they're very passionate, crazy, but in a good way. And they really dress up for it as well. I mean, you see quite a few people walking around with a DRS rear wing on their head, for example. It just, yeah, it shows you how popular motorsport, I think, is in general in Japan. I mean, I arrived in Tokyo and I turned on the TV, and the first thing what popped up was just racing again, a different category. But yeah, great culture. And that's why I think we all love coming here.
All right, well, best of luck. Enjoy the weekend. Daniel, coming to you now. Does Suzuka put a smile on your face?
Yes. He's always got a smile on his face. Yeah. It's a big one. It's really, really cool to be back here. Yeah, already, as Max touched on, like, it's Thursday, but the fans are already here in full force with all the, I don't know, would you call it apparel? It's more like costumes and stuff, but there's like a full size, full life Sebastian Vettel race suit helmet, like already ready to go in the paddock earlier, so it's fun.
How big is the Japanese arm of the Daniel Ricciardo fan club?
I mean, it's big. Like, I feel every driver has their loyal followers here. You know, I remember since my first time in 2011, I think. There's still, like, I recognize, yeah, the fans from back then, and some photos as well. You know, they make T-shirts of you, and it's fun. So, yeah, everyone's got a little fan club here.
Now, let's throw it back to Singapore quickly. A great race for the team, but also for you, your best result of 2022. How do you feel afterwards?
Relieved. Happy. Pleased. What's word association? It was just, it was certainly like, you know, it's not, just, yes, very good, very good. It's, look, it's one of those ones where it was like, I was very obviously happy. It was like honestly a bit sad that I haven't had a top 5 this year. So it was good to get that, but it was also like the sad reality of, oh wow, it's been quite a tough year. But of course, you know, just to get back to the team after as well, and just obviously Lando had a great race. So for both of us to be top 5, it was just like a wholesome environment that, you know, we'd certainly missed, you know, on those Sunday nights. We hadn't had many of those.
And it had a big impact on the Constructors' Championship with McLaren now 4 points ahead of Alpine. How do you view that battle?
Yeah, it's the sport, huh? Like it can turn around just as quickly as a couple hours on a Sunday, and you know, it's obviously it's put us back into the fight, which obviously is good. It felt like it was starting to slowly get away from us, but a big weekend has got us right back there. So happy, and try to take it down to the wire.
All right, best of luck. Enjoy the weekend.
Arigato.
George, coming to you now, just how different is this whole experience going to be, both on track and off track, compared to 2019?
Yeah, I mean, it was very exciting coming here in 2019. As the guys just touched on, the fans are obviously so enthusiastic and always a pleasure to come here. But obviously the circuit itself is one of the greats, and that is always, you know, a real joy to drive around the circuit.
What bit of the track are you most looking forward to driving?
I think all of it, to be honest. I think obviously the first sector with the S's and that flow of corners, it's truly iconic, and it's definitely, you know, top 5 circuit for probably all of us. So it's going to be, you know, a fun Saturday, I think, in qualifying. We'll see what the weather's like on Sunday. Obviously, it was a unique race here when we were here in 2019 because we had the typhoon on Saturday. So let's see if we have a bit more of a normal weekend.
Just briefly to throw it back to Singapore, difficult race for you. How do you reflect on Sunday evening?
Yeah, definitely difficult. I think it was never going to be straightforward starting from the back in those conditions. You know, we made some bold decisions. Obviously, everything's easy in hindsight, and perhaps a little bit too risky all in all. But yeah, we knew it wasn't going to be straightforward, and that's what happens when you have a bad qualifying on a circuit like that.
Did the pace of the car surprise you there? With, you know, Lewis starting 3rd, you got fastest lap in the race?
To be honest, not really, no. And it's sort of in line with what we expected. I think these races, especially post summer break, we're getting a really clear trend of where our car is working well, where it's not working well, and it's giving us a really sort of clear development direction to go down. So I think it is a shame for us as a team to have not capitalised on that race weekend. I think we all felt that, but for sure there's still a lot of positive signs to take away, especially that we really struggled on street circuits at the start of the year, and arguably that's probably the fastest race weekend we had last week.
And how do you think the W13 will go here?
I mean, I'd love for it to be as competitive as it was last weekend. I think it'll be a little bit more of a struggle. I think, you know, Ferrari have been very fast in the medium high-speed corners this year. The Red Bulls have been really slippery down the straights, which obviously, with only the one DRS zone here, they'll probably be in a good place as well. So it's not going to be straightforward, but I think we always show quite good pace on a Sunday, so there's no reason why we can't be in the fight.
All right, best of luck. Thank you, George. Joe, coming to you, first time at Suzuka, what are you looking forward to most?
I think everything. Firstly, of course, the food here is great, and I always like to be here. And then I think the fans is always a special one. And yeah, this track has a lot of high-speed corners. So my favorite track, of course, is Silverstone. So maybe it's a little bit similar layout. Who knows? We'll be trying that tomorrow. But overall, yeah, really looking forward to be here. I think it will be first time, you know, visiting Suzuka circuit.
The team has revealed that you're going to be running some upgraded parts this weekend. What are they, and what are you expecting them in terms of performance?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have the new front wing for both cars. and so it's nice to have that. And especially I think for here is very important because let's say during this second half of the season after the break, we haven't been running too much of upgrading compared to our main rivals in the midfield battle. So I think we lost a little bit of speed in terms of that and performance. So it's great to have that, and hopefully they are working as expected. So should put us much stronger than in this battle, because I think, yeah, Singapore is a good race. You know, we was able to carry quite a bit of momentum what we left on in Monza to be competitive, but unfortunately, you know, when the race was turning up damp condition, it kind of pulled us back, and especially for my race was very compromised with the lap one and also what happened during the race.
Final one from me. First time you've been in an FIA press conference since being confirmed with Alfa Romeo next year. How much more relaxed do you feel as a result of the deal, and what are your hopes and goals for year 2?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last season for me, when I was doing F2 Championship, I was waiting for the confirmation quite late, and that's definitely a lot of pressure. So this season, looking at to get it all done, all signed for my future, to have a clear what's coming next, and it's great because for my side, it's just get rid of a lot of pressure on my shoulder. There's one thing less to be think of for remaining races. So from my side, it's more like just to be looking at the race by race, try to bring the team into the points, and yeah, for the next season, of course, the target will be higher, and also from my side, I will be asking more and more, and I want to do better. So nothing has been really decided yet what I want to do and what's my achieved goal, but I think just keep working at this, and yeah, this year has been, from my side, it's been a great season so far. Of course, I had quite a lot of different moments. There's up and downs and tough moments, but overall, I think it's happy just to be able to show what's I'm available of. So it's good to have that.
Thanks for that, and best of luck this weekend. Charles, thank you for waiting. From a driving point of view, what makes Suzuka different?
Well, I don't know personally, and I think all the drivers, we love the first sector. It's such an incredible challenge, such a high-speed section, and also corners after corners. If you miss one, then you miss the whole section. So that's what makes it so exciting to me. Driving-wise, then obviously there are the fans too that are so passionate, and that always comes up with very creative ideas, and it's always a good moment to be here.
Now, you retired and you've had a 6th place here in your 2 previous visits. How confident are you of being able to go for the win this weekend?
Well, we've got a very different car this year, which is a car that is much more solid on every tracks. Red Bull will be very strong here. It's a track where you run the car in a similar position to Spa, and I expect them to be very, very strong. So hopefully we learned well in Spa, and we'll be stronger than we were there.
Now, last weekend, the start proved decisive. How much analysis have you been able to do since Sunday? And what about the start here? It's quite tricky. It's downhill, isn't it, the grid? So what can we expect on Sunday from your point of view?
I think we've been pretty strong with starts all year long. Looking back at Singapore, I don't think we did anything bad. Looking back at the start, I think myself, Luis and Fernando all had a bad start going on the patch on the right-hand side, and that was a little bit unfortunate. So I'm confident that the starts will be fine this weekend.
What about how much harder is it being downhill here at Suzuka?
Well, you just need to remember to stay on the brakes until the lights are out, otherwise you roll, and it's a stupid penalty. But apart from that, it doesn't change much.
Right. Charles, thank you. Best of luck this weekend. Let's open this to the floor now. Who's got our first question, please?
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. It's a question to Charles. If it's not this week, it's probably going to be in Austin. It looks inevitable now that Max will win the World Championship. Not how it looked after the first 3 races of the season, and when Ferrari and yourself were flying so high. What has gone wrong at Ferrari this season, and what needs to go right to avoid a repeat next season?
Well, as I've said before Singapore, I think we need to use these last races. As you said, I think realistically Max is going to be a champion. If it's not this weekend, it's going to be very soon. But we need to focus on ourselves, try to execute well the Sunday, because the performance is not what we lacked this year. If we look from the first race to now, we've always been strong, and the performance was always good enough to actually fight for wins, apart from some off, but there aren't many. I think it's mostly about trying to put everything together, coming the Sunday, strategy, tire management, and yeah, that's where we are focusing on at the moment. And this is the step that we'll have to do next year in order to fight for the championship.
Okay, that is now very, very interesting as well from Charles Leclerc, as we heard from David Croft as well. So it's not so much the performance that's been the issue this year. I think we all agree there that Ferrari have been, if not the fastest car in Formula One, they certainly were for the first half of the season. Then Red Bull sort of came out the way and took it away from them after Monaco with the upgrade package we saw in Baku. But certainly, I think Ferrari have struggled a lot this year, and I'm glad to see that Charles isn't saying it's a performance issue, it's about themselves. And mainly it's the strategy side of Ferrari that we've been saying all year. Everybody's been saying, oh, look at Ferrari, the clowns as well out there seems to be the incident as well. But it does look like it is mainly going to be the situation for Charles of getting that Ferrari team and turning it into a championship team. The same way Michael Schumacher turned Ferrari into them as well. Charles needs to do that now as well, because Carlos isn't going to do it. It needs to be Charles. So hope 2023 will be Ferrari's championship year as well. And Max Verstappen as well. Does look likely he's going to take this year's title. Okay, that's enough from the driver's press conference then. At the moment as well, we might hear a couple more interviews just before we go, and I'm standing by to tell them to you as well if I hear them. Let's go through some more general stories as well. Honda logo has returned to both the Red Bull and AlphaTauri's cars this year. They're calling it to strengthen their relations and development partnership. Now, realistically, between me and you, Honda never really left Formula One, and this sort of implies that they never did in the first place. Honda sort of said, okay, we're done now, we're not coming back. That was at the end of last year. Then they've kept the engines this year, but under Red Bull powertrains. And now the Honda logo is back on their car. They're back, basically. Honda never left. And now it looks like Honda will be back until the end of 2026 as well. Or, sorry, the end of 2025, ready for 2026 when Red Bull partner with whoever. Rumour is it is going to be Honda again, actually, who's going to sign now as a long-term partner with Red Bull, which kind of makes sense as well. Further down then as well, let's just talk to you quickly about the Honda Link and its special memories. Verstappen excited for Suzuka return. Of course, Verstappen made his debut here, and Honda being the Japanese engine supplier, this is the Honda Japanese Grand Prix. So Max really wants to win the title this weekend and have it sort of like an ultra special event as well. Second championships are always more important than the first. The first one, everyone thinks, oh, you can only do it once. The second one proves you're a champion, which is always good to know. Let's go up. Yuki Tsunoda says, I know a lot of tricks. Tsunoda hoping for Suzuka experience will count as he tackles his first ever home race. Weird to think that Tsunoda's been in the sport for so long. This is actually his first Japanese Grand Prix. Vettel says he's seriously consider a one-off return at favourite track Suzuka as he describes emotions ahead of final Japanese Grand Prix. We heard that as well in the press conference just a few moments ago. He loves this track, and if he did need to return here, he absolutely would. He loves this circuit. Won here, of course, before, twice. Let's go Hamilton as well. We didn't hear from him in the press conference. Hamilton has said he is keen for unique Suzuka experience after admitting to sleepless nights after tough Singapore Grand Prix. Mercedes had an open goal to win the Singapore Grand Prix. It didn't turn out that way, with both drivers failing after some good points. Singapore race winner Perez credits race engineer for helping him emerge from rough patches as he aims for more success at the Japan Grand Prix. Good luck to him. And of course, we heard that the clear performance is not the only key thing to look forward to for next year. But it is a lot more important as well, because Lewis Hamilton also said here today in interviews that he wishes the FIA would be serious when looking at the cost cap as well. If Red Bull or Aston Martin have develop their car with the extra budget cap money, then it gives an unfair advantage to win the championship. So Lewis has said the FIA need to be harsh on these penalties if it's found that Red Bull or Red Bull or Aston Martin have broken the cost cap. Okay, that's about wrapped it up then for the preview show. We'll be back bright and early for UK fans as well. It's the second time this year we have to do a night race after Australia as well, but we've been doing night races for so much longer now. This is our fourth or fifth one in a row. Can't quite remember, but anyway, we'll be on here at 3:45 tomorrow morning for practice 1 as well. Gets underway at 4. Then at 6:45 for practice 2. Same times for Saturday, apart from 6:40 we'll be on here for qualifying. And Sunday we're on here at 4:45 a.m. Lights out at 6 a.m. as well. Josh and Synthel will join me for the practice sessions. Josh and Megan will be with me for qualifying. Josh is sitting out the Japanese Grand Prix, but as the Championships one, we're going to get him on the phone because he's travelling down to a special area for the British Touring Car Championship season finale as well. That's on this weekend. So Josh will be with us in some respects on Sunday as well, hopefully over a voice call. If Verstappen is about to win the title, we'll grab him up on air. But it'll be a full house with Megan Birch and Ian Birch alongside me in the commentary box as well. We'll be live for that Grand Prix on USON2 as well on the Mixlr app if you are out and about. Well, we'll be back then tomorrow morning for practice 1. It looks to be a wet session, and just to remind you as well, Practice 1 and Practice 2 tomorrow are slightly different. Practice 1 is the usual hour in length, but Practice 2 will be 90 minutes due to the fact it was designated for a Pirelli tyre test. But with it being wet, it looks like we might not get much running. Whether or not they cancel that and just turn it down to an hour, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow ahead of the practice session as well. But if tomorrow's practice is wet, then we get a Practice 2 at Mexico City, which is 90 minutes as well. Well, thanks to you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow then for all the action from the Japanese Grand Prix. See you later.